Hey guys, welcome back to Economics and Comics. I thought I would sit down, as I am sitting down, and just kind of get into variance. Take a little time to talk to you about variance, my thoughts about variance, the different types of variance, why they may have appeared, um, the good and bad of variance, why they're good or bad for a store or an exclusive, and kind of just dive into it just a little bit. I feel like it's kind of expected of the channel, and so I'm going to talk about it. I'm also going to touch on the thoughts of a comic book crash and stuff like that, and things that just seem to always be there in the comic book market in the comic book community, and we'll just kind of finish up with that. But for those who know a lot about variance, bear with me. There might be some topics that you're interested in hearing, but I'm going to kind of go from the beginning. Okay, so cheers. That's what she said. Let me have a little coffee, and let's get into it. Okay, so variance. Okay, there's there's variance from the past, like newsstand or price variance, stuff like that, which existed, which are price variance, stuff like that are sought after. They're older though, like 70s. But what I'm basically talking about is variants that your comic book store gets, from Diamond or whoever, from the companies. And then there's exclusive variants, and that's exclusive to any store that decides to have exclusive variants. So I'm going to show you the difference really quick. For instance, this is just a random Batman 77. That is a variant cover of the original first print. It is a first print, but it's the variant alternate cover, okay? That's stuff you can get at your comic book store on Comic Book Day. As well as something like this. This is a 1 in 25 variant, okay? So there's ratio variants. So that's like comic book store stuff, okay? And we'll get into that. Then you have variants like this. Like, this is a limited Vampirilla variant from an exclusive artist from Comics Elite, and it's numbered and limited. They pay an artist to do a cover for their store, okay? As well as something like this. I'm just showing you different types. Exchange collectibles. This one's limited to 100. They have exclusive right from the publisher to do a virgin copy of the actual first print, but it is a store exclusive variant and it's limited. These are the different types of variants, okay? So on the one hand, you have comic book store variants. On the other hand, you can have businesses and comic book store variants, but they're exclusive. So let's dive into the first problem here. Variants can get out of hand at comic book stores, just your regular run. If you watch my channel, my point is to tell you everything early, because a lot of these jump up in value depending on if they're hot, the cover, whatever. Okay, in your comic book store, you have to order. Here's the thing about comic book stores: if they want, for instance, if they want this variant, the 1 in 25, okay, they might have to order double their orders on Miss Marvel or something, and get 25 regular copies of this just to get this one copy. Usually, they only have to order whatever the ratio is. So if it's a 1 in 7, that means you have to order 7 copies of the first print, and then you can get the variant cover, okay? It's a game, all right? This is just an alternate cover. They have a choice to order the regular cover or the alternate. Now, the thing about alternate covers is usually the art is doper on it. Different artist, more appealing to the eye. And we're going to talk about that. Now, I don't want to go too far into this, and I'm completely talking straight off my brain, so I'm not going to be editing or anything. I hope not. Editing and stuff like that, but I want to feel like we're talking to each other even though I'm not answering your questions. So here's the problem with those type of variants, okay? Comic book stores in regard to both variants, both types, comic book stores can go out of business really fast. And I've seen it a million times. So, say they want the super hot variant, okay? Here's the first problem. They have to order a bunch, a 1 in 100 variant. They have to order 100 copies. So what do you think happens to those other 100 books just to get the 1 in 100? They have to liquidate them, and it's very difficult to do that. So a lot of people, a lot of stores dig themselves a hole they can't get out of. They go bankrupt, whatever, and they have to close down. So, is that a problem for us? No, it's not. Because, or the market itself, okay? I don't think it is. It's weird, my views change a lot, but I'm kind of like set on this now. Because it's up to the comic book store to know their business, okay? So if they know they can move 100 copies of a book just to get that one, then they'll do it. They have an alternate way of selling, or they have enough customers that will pre-order and have to buy that book, okay? Those stores are the smart ones. Some of the smart ones will not order a bunch, and they just order what they can handle according to pre-orders. They have their people that have their boxes at the stores. They say, I want this, that, and this. And the store will order maybe 1 or 2 copies more than their box holders do. Now, what the problem there is that if in this market today, people are going store to store hunting for different things. So if they go to a store and they don't have any covers because their box holders took them all, then that could lose business for the store. But they are still selling their books and they're not losing money. You see what I mean? And the other hand is that the stores that order a crap load and they're stuck with them, they are losing money like crazy. And they're going in the negative and they will fall. Okay? So, let's see. Also, in regard, I feel like I'll miss things, and I don't want to. So you have the two things: a smart store and a stupid store. Okay, if you're a stupid store and you're watching this right now, try to be more like the smart store because we want options, guys. Now, the other thing is, as a comic book collector, or as a collector in general, and as an art lover, okay, I go after. There could be a fire cover, like this, just sitting there, and say I didn't like Batman, but I'm like, dude, I want that, so I buy. I do cover buys. I do buys for my pools, stuff like that. The thing about variant covers is that some are really, really nice. So, you're going to have an impulse buy, stuff like that. I think I'm getting off topic. So let's get past that. I was going somewhere with that, but let's get past that part. So I think one of the problems, though, is with the store exclusives, or not the comic book store comics. Like, for instance, X-Men 1 came out a while back. There were like 50 variants, dude. It was ridiculous. Or Marvel Comics 1000. Tony Stark Iron Man, where they had a different suit cover. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was getting out of hand. And if you go into a store, you will still find those books. And they, depending on what store you go to, of course. So that can be a problem for us, or at least for the comic book store, if they don't watch what they're doing. Honestly, it's not a problem for Diamond. It's not a problem for the distributors because they wouldn't keep doing it if they weren't making money. Now, I don't know if you know this or not, and again, I'm going off topic, but every year, Diamond does these huge sales for comic book stores. They have a crap load of stuff, okay? I don't know how much Diamond makes, but they control the market, okay, in regard to comic book stores. But they liquidate all these things that were really expensive at first, okay? So they do have back stock too, but they figured out a way to liquidate it, and they're getting it for the lowest price possible because most of them are printed. A lot of them are being printed there. The other problem, oh man, it was right on that. This is just about comic stores. I might have to edit right here. So if it clicks over, that means I cut for a second just so I can get back on topic. So I'll take a sip of coffee real fast. Okay, I remember now. Here's the problem for us, okay? With stuff like this, a 1 in 25 variant. The majority of comic book stores, if they have it, they are going to charge you $25 because they had to order 25 copies. So the prices of ratios are more expensive. If you want a 1 in 100 variant, you might as well just have $100 in your hand, or a 1 in 20. They balance it. It's a good way for a comic store to make money, but it hurts us, okay? That's kind of part of the reason I do my channel, where it kind of started from, was I was spending a crap load on variants, the ratios, and I was sick and tired of not knowing, at least speculating in my mind from what I've learned, what was going to be hot and which one to go for. So with my channel, I tell you guys what I think might be hot, so you can try to get it for cheaper. But now, and this wasn't always, like places like Midtown, stuff like that, they're raising the price now. So it's that in lies the problem with us. Are we willing to spend more money for a higher ratio variant? So the answer is yes and no. Majority of comic book buyers, I think, are between the ages of like 30 and 45 years old. They have money. At least, well, not all of them, but most of them that go into stores. If you go into a comic store, usually it's filled with adults. There aren't kids in there. They might have a kids section, but it's extremely small. This is a market for adults that when they get money, and collector, they go back to their old hobbies. When I was a kid, I collected comics and baseball cards, stuff like that. So, when they get excess money or they retire, they start to spend thousands of dollars on comics. And it's true. You can ask people. You can ask around. And they go after keys, but they want to invest in the new market too, which is kind of a problem. So in the mind of an investor, do you buy a regular copy or you buy a ratio? You buy a ratio because it seems to hold more value. Now, whether that ratio goes up or down, or you lose or win, that's what's happening. I think I'm bouncing all over the place, but let's move on. Overall, in regard to comic book stores, I've talked about the ordering problem, how comic book stores can fail or do well, depending on how they use their brain, and our problem with purchasing. The truth of the matter is, if we want it, we're going to buy it. If you don't want it, you're not going to buy it. But the fact is, they are making money. And so, it won't, if we want to talk about the crash real fast, it's not going to make the comic book market crash. Okay? I think in regard to that. Because it will make a comic book store crash if they don't know what they're doing. But it's not going to hurt us, I don't think. Okay? Because their diamond's just going to keep on printing. Now, sorry, this video could be long. In regard to store exclusives like Comics Elite or Exchange Collectibles, okay? Or Unknown, or, wherever, Planet Awesome, or whatever you want. Even Midtown's got their own exclusive variants. These are limited. Most of them have, a regular print run of a variant from a store is probably around 3,000, and then they cut it down to like 1,500, and then it goes, there's alternate covers with, virgins or black and whites or whatever, all the way down to like 500, all the way down to 100 to 25 to whatever. Are those a problem? Okay, that's the question. Okay, and it's almost the same answer, but a little bit more to it. The comic book store, or business that goes into the exclusive variant business, they pay the artist for the art, okay? And then they pay either Marvel or Source Point Press or whoever a certain amount of money to get those books printed. They pay for the print runs. So, in reality, these stores that are dealing in exclusives are helping the comic book industry because they're giving money to these publishers to print alternate covers. They're giving money to the artists that are doing these covers. So that helps them. Now, if they're smart, they will sell all their books. Say they get a print run of 3,000 or 100. They will sell them all. Or they have a way to sell them all. If it doesn't sell in the store, they'll liquidate it a different way. So, is our exclusive store variants a problem? For the publisher and the artist, no. For the store or business that's selling them, maybe. It depends on if, again, they have a brain and they know what they're doing and they know how to sell and push the books, okay? Is it a problem for us? The only problem for us is it's a wallet problem. Because it's like putting candy in front of a baby. When you see things like this, and not everyone's into this stuff, okay? You have to have it, okay? Now, if you're a reseller, I do that. I do resell, but it just depends. I resell to fund my habit. And, of course, to fund this YouTube channel because I don't make anything from YouTube. But by offering you guys these things at a little discount price or finding stuff like that, I can survive doing this channel. And I love doing it. I love helping you guys. And I have fun communicating with you guys. But the only problem I see there is our wallets, okay? But it helps out everybody to do an exclusive variant. So overall, in regard to the mass production of comic books and variants, the only people I think it hurts are the stores that are buying them. That's what I think. Because if they don't know what they're doing, they're going to go out of business. And I've seen it a million times. So, now, let me look at my little list. I can't read because I don't have my glasses because I want to look sexy for you without the glasses. That's so stupid. Let's talk about the comic book crash, okay? Now, a lot of people say, oh, the comic book crash is common. And they've been saying it forever. Really quick, like I said, off the cuff. So, before we get into that, I want to talk about variants one more time. Why did variants come out of nowhere? Why? I mean, they've been around, but these type of variants we're talking about. Well, I think it's kind of based on the baseball card collecting thing. Dude, they fell. I know there's still a market for it, but there was a crash in the baseball market. It had to do with Upper Deck and a bunch of other stuff, but they were printing so many cards and then it just blew out. So if you ever go to a baseball card store or something like that and you ask for new cards, dude, they're super expensive. You can get a regular crappy pack, but there's SP Authentic, SPX, stuff like that, where it's limited to 100 signed rookie cards with jerseys. That is the game they switched to for these companies that do sports cards to survive, okay? So I feel like possibly the comic book market got wind of how they saw, maybe this is my own personal opinion, they saw that they could make money on alternate covers and exclusives, so they jumped into the game too. Okay, let's get away from variants right now. And let's talk about the supposed comic book crash. I have to say this. It ain't happening. I'm going to say it right now. It ain't or isn't happening. I don't see it coming anytime soon. The only thing that I see that's inevitable is digital. That is inevitable. You look at your kids, you look at the world, they all have their phone in their face. Look, you're watching this right now. Whatever. Most younger generation, they are attached to the phone. We, as I think most people are watching as adults, can disconnect. But you do see how your phone or whatever is a big part of your life, social media, whatever. But the kids, it is their life. I have my kids say, look, I'm a technological age. It's, I'm smarter than you. I mean, they say a lot of shit, but And I was like, my kid said the other day, my stepson, dude, I'm so much smarter than you. I'm like, okay, why? He's like, oh, I was born in the digital age, and I have a computer in my hand and all this stuff. And I said, well, you're not doing cursive in class anymore? No. Oh, you don't do cursive? Oh, when you write an essay, the iPad automatically corrects it for him. I'm like, you're not really that much smarter. And by the way, I was alive during the digital age, and I've learned a lot more than you. And I was alive when we actually had to learn something. It was a really funny conversation. I'm getting off topic again, but whatever. You're sitting with me. I'm sitting here. Whatever. Let's talk about the comic book crash. Again, the only thing I see that's inevitable is eventually everything will be digital. We have two big things that are going for us in regard to being able to go to a store and getting a comic book, okay? Number one, art has been around since the beginning of time. And writing, okay? Those two combined are a god, okay? Whether we go digital or not, there will still be value in comic books, okay? I'm not worried about that. But we love art and we love stories. We like to escape. They're both forms of escape and expression, which is very important. Now, I know you can still get that with the digital, but I'm just getting to the point that I think comics and books and stories and stuff will be around for a long time more, and the comic market as well. The biggest thing going for us, and I think a lot of people for some reason think it's the worst thing, and I will never ever understand it ever. I've talked to many comic book stores that say, movies are destroying the comic book industry. Dude, are you crazy? Do you know about comic books, or are you just a store owner? It makes no sense to me. First of all, we've had 10 years of Marvel movies that have boosted this market, the comic book market, into a stock market. It has brought people back to comics, whether it's digitally or coming into a comic store. I worked at a comic store, kids would come in, oh, Iron Man, Spider-Man, oh, what did you have any? And yeah, here, you get them started. Okay? They say a lot of comic book stores they're getting smaller and smaller out there. I don't know if that's true anymore. I know there was a drop for a while, but I think some are starting to build up. But let's just pretend the Disney machine, Marvel movies, DC's trying to make their moves now. DC's moving into Black Label. I'll explain that in a minute. But there is no way, just about Disney and Marvel, okay, that comic books are disappearing anytime soon. Okay? And they're not hurting the comic book industry at all. You're seeing more and more books being pushed now. And have you gone to a Comic-Con recently? It's absolutely insane. The growth is immense. Okay? So, and that's of course why they intertwine movie actors and stuff into Comic-Cons, which I'm not really a fan of. It's cool to see somebody, but I'm going there for comics and artists. But anyway, they know what they're doing. It's a machine. The biggest thing for us right now, I think, and I think you really should do this, guys, is support independent comic books. Because Marvel is fine. Disney is fine. DC is fine. They're strong enough, those two, that they can do their thing. Image is fine. I don't know how McFarlane's doing it, but he's doing it. They're great. And they're keeping their prices low, which is a whole nother topic. But I don't know if you noticed, but almost every other movie that's not Marvel or DC, or Netflix, Amazon, all the different streaming services, dude, everything is based off a comic book. And you know what? Independent comic books are killing it. They're being picked up by different companies before they're even published now, stories. Because they'll use them as a movie or a TV show. It's brilliant. Lock and Key just came out. It's really good. I see potential. The independent market is growing, okay? And their stories are so good. So, in regard to those two things alone, I don't see a comic book crash coming at all. I think it's a boom. I do think it's inevitable we'll go digital eventually, but not for a long time. The other problem is the price of comics. I don't want to get too far into it, and I know it's a big topic. But yeah, it's expensive, and it's getting more and more expensive. We're looking at $5 a comic now, $6, $4, I guess, is reasonable. But, you want an exclusive from an exclusive store that's limited, you're going to pay the price. And that's fine. But I guess, everything goes up. Everything costs more and more and more. Cost of living costs more. Minimum wage went up with the cost of living. So it doesn't really mean shit. I don't really want to get into that politic area. But everything will increase in value. Will it hurt the comic book market? No. No. Only if we let it. We have the power, okay? We do have the power. And I'm not saying stand up for your rights and just say we're not buying it anymore. We want a stable price, a reasonable price for a comic book. How can one guy offer a comic book for $3 and one guy's $6? Yeah, they have power, and that's why they're doing it. Now, we could stand up and say, look, we want you to lower the price and keep it there. But it would, in my mind, it would cause a lot of problems. I'm all for it, but the main issue there, I think, is that if we all stop buying comic books from the comic store, a couple things are going to happen. The comic book store is going to go out of business, like, immediately. We'll kill the people that are giving us our comics. And so that's dangerous. Now, whether if we could band all the comic books together and say, hey, Diamond, hey, Marvel, hey, everybody, we want lower prices, and you're going to give it to us. That might be a way to do it. But to just stop buying comics, I think, is dangerous. And it's your prerogative, of course. And I agree with the thought of being a higher price. But there's got to be another way that we can do it to save us some money. The machine will keep going. Because comic book collecting and collecting in general it's addicting. Now, whether you're a smart collector or not, whether you're investing in old books or buying just variant covers or whatever, and I, of course, am guilty of doing it all, doesn't really matter. You will learn eventually how to collect the way you want to collect. And I think that's the most important thing. And to get back to the original topic of variants itself, I believe variants are a good thing. I mean, they can get a little ridiculous. If people watch what they're ordering and be smart, we'll all be fine. But for us, I think it's a benefit because we have options. There's things that we think are pretty. There's things that we think are ugly. We go for the pretty things. And so if we get more access to different artists and we like the collectible thought of a lower print ratio, higher print ratio, or lower print whatever, or an exclusive limited book, and we like to invest or buy that stuff because we're collectors in general, I think it's a good thing. I don't really have any problem with variants. I love variants. So, but I have stated all the problems that there could be. Stuff like that. I know there might be a lot of comments on this video. I don't know if you guys all watched it, but I love you guys. This isn't really a commercial. I just had these, but I do have codes, guys. If you want to get variants or anything from Comics Elite, I have specials. You can use my code. At the end of the video, you'll see it. You get 5% off anything there. And if you want to exchange collectible stuff, I have a code, 10% off. And if you want bags and boards, I have a code for BCW, guys. And if you want Gemini shipping mailers, I have a code for that. And if you want exclusive graded colored slabs, I have a code for that too. So use it all. I'm here to help you guys save money. I'm here to talk about things. That's what I'm here for. This whole topic is really why I got into this YouTube thing. And I hope somebody enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Leave some comments. I know it's going to be up and down. Let me know what you think. And we'll see you next time, okay? I hope you guys enjoyed.